We do not stand still and are developing for you, so we bring to your attention a new voice and a new story.
My spouse is an exceptional woman. I tied the knot with her when I turned 36. She was 35 at the time. Prior experiences of marriage had not been pleasant for us both, and I knew from the outset that this union would endure throughout my life. My previous marriage turned into a catastrophe. I yearned for children, but she didn't. I was affectionate. She was more pragmatic. However, she became enraged each time I spoke to another woman, and our emotional connection wasn't strong either. It wasn't destined to last, and we parted ways after just 5 years. In contrast, my current wife possesses all a man could desire. I shall refrain from elaborating. It's tedious to hear a man enumerating his wife's qualities. Simply put, we spent many joyous moments together. Oh, and the intimacy remained remarkable even post-marriage. We concurred that we would relish 2 or 3 years as a couple before starting a family. Despite initial plans, things took a different turn when Sophia's younger sister Alex, who was only 22 and had just graduated from college, moved in after a few years. Being significantly younger than Sophia, she was almost an unintended addition to the family, as their parents hadn't anticipated extending it in their 40s. However, they welcomed her warmly. She was pampered considerably, given her good upbringing due to a strong influence from her older sister and de facto third parent, Sophia. Together with me, we helped Alex settle into our spare room and soon became accustomed to her presence. She found employment at a local coffee shop and contributed towards household chores as much as she could. Since we had stable jobs, there was no pressure on her to contribute financially. She had her own group of friends, lacked a permanent partner, yet managed her time effectively between her social circle and us. Even though both Sophie and I were well into our 40s, she seemed content accompanying us on our outings. She shared our taste for similar movies and appreciated dining out, as long as the bill was settled by us. In essence, we appreciated her presence. It was enjoyable having a youthful individual in our household. Incidentally, it lessened the sensation of aging. However, you might be wondering if it interfered with our private life. The brief response is negative. We continued much as before, albeit more cautiously. Yes, we became more discreet, but Alex was considerate enough not to intrude upon us. We were aware that she knew what we were doing, yet she showed sufficient politeness not to barge in. Our intimate activities weren't a mystery to her, especially since Sophie had shared details with her. To reiterate, their intimate lives were not clandestine among the two girls. Occasionally, I'd enter a room to find them chuckling about something. At one point, Alex mentioned, "I truly believe he thought foreplay was related to golf." Sophie responded with, "Poor you." They both laughed. "The two of you must have an extraordinary connection," said Alex, looking at me. "Why do you say that?" asked Sophie. "Come on," her sister laughed. "I can hear you everywhere in the house." I apologized and promised to lower the volume, but Alex wouldn't allow it. "Don't stop because of me. It's heartening to know you're still doing this. I feel quite envious." She then asked, "What are you contemplating?" with a smile. "Isn't it evident? Explain it again," was my response. "You," I said immediately, moving nearer. "And how amazing it feels to be with you," I added. "Liar. You're thinking of Alex." The suggestion was so absurd I actually chuckled. "That is completely false. It isn't even worthy of a response." She responded with a smug smile. "I can perceive it in your gaze. You mean you see miniature images of her in my irises?" She chuckled. "Not exactly. Don't shy away from confessing it. I wouldn't be shocked if you weren't pondering her. She is stunning. All I want is honesty from you. So, admit that you find her appealing." "Fine, she is attractive," I conceded. "However, that doesn't imply I'm thinking of her." "No, but you are," she persisted. "You're considering her allure." Despite her smile, I chose to persist in denial. Jealousy had played a significant role in the breakdown of my previous marriage, and I wasn't willing to let it affect us. "I am not," I stated plainly. However, I couldn't shake off the image of Alex from my mind after Sophie brought her up in conversation. "She does have an impressive physique, doesn't she?" She was playing a joke, I understood, and found my unease quite entertaining. I remained silent, but the notion crossed my mind that she must have figured out something about what was on my mind. Don't seem so anxious, dear, she said, grasping my face with her hands and planting a deep, ardent kiss on me. I'm not implying you prefer her to me. I understand you love me, but I can't ignore the way you gaze at her, and I am aware of your admiration for her. I attempted to argue, but she silenced me with another kiss. Don't deny it. You know I dislike deceit. When I say I don't mind, I really mean it. I truly do. I know you find me attractive as well. I do, I affirmed. You know I do. That feels wonderful, dear, she said, closing her eyes for a brief moment. So, it is all right that you are infatuated with Sophie, she reiterated. I am not jealous of her. She's my sister and I cherish her. I feel, I don't know, somewhat proud of the fact I have a sister who is beautiful and whom my husband admires. Does that make sense? If you say so, I responded. She playfully suggested, go ahead and admit you're thinking about her. I met her gaze intently, and she returned it with a mixture of seriousness and amusement. Her honesty was reflected back at me. And you're okay with the fact that I find her attractive? I asked. I'm fine, she replied. In truth, I wouldn't mind if you did. Yes, she confirmed. I would like it. So, I confessed. I have feelings for her, she persisted. And you've been thinking about her too. Laughing, I answered. It's hard not to think about her after all the conversations we've had about her, but I don't wish for her instead of you. I understand, she said. Later, we embraced and expressed our love for each other, sharing numerous kisses until we fell asleep. The following morning, I discovered Alex eating breakfast in the kitchen. She greeted me with a grin and said, Hello, stud. Then she wrapped her arms around me and planted a big kiss on my cheek. Why did you do that? I questioned, slightly surprised. I love you, future brother-in-law, she replied. Yes, indeed, I replied. Her joy is due to you, she explained. I've never seen her like this before. She radiates contentment, like the cat that found its cream. It's constant, every moment of every day. You must be quite extraordinary, she said softly. Thanks, I mumbled, unsure of what to say. It's delightful being with both of you. You managed to brighten up my world. That's a heavy burden, I remarked. Could it just be the love we share? It's more than that. It's the way you connect with each other, the tender glances you exchange. Ah, so you've noticed that too? I said, feeling a bit warm. Don't be shy. I appreciate it, she replied. Oh my, I said, blushing deeper. I trust you didn't overhear our conversation, she chuckled. If that's your concern, I haven't been listening with my ear against the wall. She checked her watch and prepared to leave. But don't fret, she said with a naughty grin. Sophie keeps me informed of everything. And with that, she was gone. Did you share it with her? I inquired from Sophie a few nights afterward. What did you tell her? I asked. Did you disclose to Alex what we discussed the other night regarding her and you and me? Yes, she said. I tell her everything. Oh, wonderful, I replied. So now she thinks I have feelings for her. Not more than you feel for me, I hope, she retorted playfully. Of course not, I quickly responded. But that's unfortunate. Don't be foolish, she said. She was flattered. She found it exhilarating to be admired. I'm unsure if I can look at her again. Why not? It boosts her self-confidence knowing an older man finds her attractive, she remarked. I never said she was attractive. She might appear mature and wise, but like all young women, she worries about her looks, her character, and how she comes across to others, particularly men. She's still discovering herself. They both concur that your presence boosts her confidence and aids her self-discovery. I hinted at parents, but she corrected me, explaining they're more like trusted confidants. Close friends one would die for, always there to offer support. That's how Alex views us, and vice versa. She hopes you see it that way too. I try, I responded, feeling insufficient because of my late arrival on the scene. Don't undervalue yourself, she said, playfully hitting me. She already adores you. How do you know? I inquired. Because she's told me, she replied. Over time, I grew accustomed to Alex knowing about my feelings for her, as well as the knowing glances, winks, and unexpected embraces from her and Sophie. If I anticipated any objections from Sophie about her sister being excessively familiar, none were voiced. On the contrary, she appeared to enjoy our growing camaraderie greatly. Frequently, the three of us would wind up in a communal embrace, roaring with laughter and professing our deep affection for one another. By this stage, Alex had acquired a sort of partner, though their actions hardly resembled those of a conventional couple. They were usually seen in large groups, and Alex never visited the house. One day, upon returning from work, I found Sophie and Alex seated on the couch, with Alex weeping in her sister's arms. The boyfriend has left her, Sophie informed me. Foolish man, I replied. Clearly he lacks discernment when it comes to women. Thank you, Alex sniffled. Could you make us some tea, dear? Sophie requested. So we sat and drank tea, and gradually Alex's tears subsided. Then I proposed that we all venture to the nearby pub for a round of drinks. And let's lambast all the worthless men we've encountered, suggested Sophie. I admired the two wonderful ladies, I mentioned. Although a bit corny, it prompted laughter, so no complaints. We indulged in some drinking, and Alex had a few unsteady moments, but overall we laughed heartily. At home, Alex embraced and kissed us both before retiring to bed. Try not to be too loud, she advised with a faint smile. You'll only make me feel left out. For the next couple of weeks, Alex appeared somewhat reserved at home. She seldom went out, and when asked why, she simply replied, That crowd bores me. They're so immature. I prefer your company instead. This arrangement suited me well. Who wouldn't appreciate having two attractive women to return to? However, it seemed to concern Sophie a bit. One evening, she stated, I believe Alex might be lacking something. I looked in her direction. Like what? I asked. She responded. The initial spark, she said. Well, I started, but found myself at a loss for words. Well, she's stunning, I eventually replied. Men must be lining up for her. They likely are, she concurred. Her disinterest stems from the fact that the man she was with previously left her, and now she's uninterested in any other man. You suggested persuading her that not all men are like him, but she replied that the only example she can think of is you. Upon hearing this, you agreed it could be a problem given your affection for her. She then suggested that perhaps you should be with the woman who made the suggestion, pointing out that you know what to do to make a woman feel good about herself. Initially, I thought I misunderstood her, but she persisted and suggested visualizing how this hypothetical woman would react if you were treating her in such a manner. She implied that the woman would love you forever as a result. While it's possible that she might, I was already married to Sophie and loved her, and I wasn't prepared to risk our relationship, even at her urging. After the experience became lodged in my mind, it proved difficult to dislodge. As we lay there, drifting off to sleep in each other's embrace, she whispered, That was extraordinary, sweetheart. I wish Alex could have shared it as well. In the days that followed, Sophie remained silent on the matter. Slowly, my mind ceased dwelling on Alex and our shared moments. Sunday morning arrived, and Sophie and I lay half asleep under the duvet, struggling to find a reason to rise. There was a gentle tap on the door. Are you dressed? Alex asked from the hallway. Sophie shifted. Almost. Alex peeked her head around the corner. Would either of you like some tea? It's barely past 8, Sophie grumbled. That's too early for tea. Dressed in a t-shirt that barely concealed her lower back, Alex stood there. I didn't know, she apologized. Don't stand there shivering. Come in. Since my side of the bed was closest to the door, Sophie pulled back my side of the duvet. Thanks, Alex smiled. It's a bit cold. She got into bed with us, although our large bed had ample space for 3. I moved closer to Sophie. Don't monopolize the bed, sweetheart, she grumbled. I didn't mean to, Alex apologized. Am I taking up too much space? Not at all, Sophie chuckled. He's just concerned you might discover he's not wearing anything. Oh, naughty, laughed Alex. Can I see? I protested, sounding a bit overly defensive. Stop discussing me like I'm not here, I said. Don't be so modest, dear, Sophie teased, trying hard to keep a straight face. You have nothing to be ashamed of. I agree, added Alex. I wouldn't mind seeing what brings such joy to my sister. A request you can't refuse, Sophie said playfully, elbowing me. I started to fear I was about to become the target of a prank they had concocted together. It sounded too much like a plot they might have devised in secret. I wasn't going to let them place me in an awkward predicament. I'm rising up. My wife smirked. Grinch, Alex added. Too bad. I fought my way out of bed, keeping them both at bay. Sophie commented. Nice derriere, Alex agreed, very toned. I retreated to the ensuite bathroom and stepped under the shower spray. I half anticipated roaring laughter from the bedroom, but I heard only hushed dialogue. I made an effort not to envision Alex in just a t-shirt beside me. Even that would have been a form of betrayal to Sophie. When I re-emerged 15 minutes later, the bed was unoccupied. Fortunately, Alex didn't join our bed on the subsequent Sunday mornings, thus avoiding a repeat of that ordeal. Sophie hinted at her idea of helping. Her sister suggested it a few more times, but I silenced her. It's not happening, so stop mentioning it, I said. I love you too much. A few days later, she had to attend a conference, leaving Alex and me alone in the house for the night. Upon arriving home from work, I found her lounging on the sofa with a drink in hand. Tough day at the coffee shop? I inquired. Indeed it was, she replied, taking a lengthy sip. My day hadn't been stellar either, and I usually felt a bit down when Sophie was absent. I'll head to the bathroom for a wash, I said, then I'll join you. I switched to jeans and a t-shirt. We spent the time sipping together as she recounted her dismal day. I offered understanding ears. I fancy getting quite tipsy, she mentioned, making me grin. Yes, she agreed. I blame that snobby private school I attended. By the time we'd emptied half of the second bottle, we were both rather relaxed. Even when she began to cuddle up to me, I didn't protest. Why aren't all men like you? She inquired. She playfully jabbed me. You know what I mean, she continued. The way you are with Soph, you're fantastic with her. She adores you. I must be humble, I replied. I'm serious, she said again. Since she met you, she's been a different person. Her presence illuminates the term radiant. You've discovered this firsthand. She embodies that essence. Your secret? Adoration is my answer. It isn't hidden. I love her deeply and passionately. And yes, she captivates me greatly. She's the epitome of attractiveness I've encountered. Yet, I yearn for someone to reciprocate such feelings about me. Incidentally, you find me appealing? That surprised me. Perhaps it was the alcohol talking, or perhaps the truth slipped out unintentionally. Surprised? She questioned, scrutinizing my expression. Sophie hinted that you sometimes ponder over me, but I never believed her. Goodness gracious, I almost gasped. She disclosed that to you. She giggled at my reaction. If only you could see your face now. Aren't we open about everything? I asked, slightly taken aback. Well, not everything, I replied, feeling somewhat apprehensive. But she didn't mind, she reassured me. Quite the opposite. It intrigued her. She admitted that this knowledge ignited her passion and granted me a boost in self-esteem. I was left speechless by her revelation. She admitted I found her attractive, snuggling nearer. I'm not going to say anything more. I tried to pull away, but the sofa arm hindered me, fearing self-incrimination. In response, she placed her hand on my face, turned it towards hers, and kissed me forcefully, drunkenly. I struggled not to reciprocate, but it was challenging. Her lips were delightful and soft. Afterwards, she inquired, Do you like me more now? Before I could respond, the phone rang, positioned on the table between us. Saved by the bell, I stated, picking it up. It's Sophie. Instantly, I felt a wave of guilt wash over me. Alex leaned forward eagerly. Wonderful, it's a video call, she exclaimed, snatching it from my hand and pressing accept. Hello, both of you, said Sophie as her image filled the screen. How are my two dearest individuals? Fine, replied Alex. We're both missing you terribly, so we're compensating with drinking together. That sounds fun, chuckled Sophie. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Alex informed me about his affection towards you and his admiration for you. This caught me off guard. Not at all, I nearly exclaimed. Pay no heed, dear. Your sister seems a bit out of sorts, Alex mentioned. For added emphasis, I glared at Alex. Sophie chuckled. There's no need to defend yourself, I don't mind. You having fun while I'm away is more appealing to me than you feeling sad. That's my sentiments, said Alex, but he doesn't seem interested in playing along. She gave me a suspicious look. Perhaps he no longer finds you attractive. He certainly does, affirmed Sophie. The situation was escalating. Maybe Sophie had been drinking too. I snatched the phone and stood up. All right, that's enough. Say goodbye to your sister, I instructed Alex. I'm taking this into the bedroom. Grumpy, Alex retorted, leaving on a pout. In the bedroom, I prepared for a heartfelt talk with my spouse, but the expected sympathy was absent. You can't just leave Alex like that, she said. Check on her to ensure she's fine. What? And invite her again? Stop objecting, dear. She adores you. You have feelings for her, don't you? I sighed. Yes, but I can't. I love you, and I won't be unfaithful even if it's your sister. All right, she replied. You should clarify that to her then. If I know her, she's probably crying now. She must think you despise her. I will as soon as we hang up. We continued conversing, quickly returning to our normal, intimate interactions. Later, I went into the living room, but Alex wasn't there. Her bedroom door was shut. I knocked. Alex, it's me. May I enter? A muffled sound responded, which could have been anything. I opened the door. She was sprawled on her bed in a wide-open position. You'll regret this tomorrow, I said. She raised her head. I already do. With her disheveled hair and lifted skirt, she looked more attractive than ever. She sat up. You seem as though you've been through a rough day, but I find you captivating. No matter your appearance, you possess an innate beauty. I reiterated my sentiment when she questioned its sincerity. She hinted at our mutual attraction, and I confirmed it. She also mentioned my feelings for her, to which I acknowledged. When she inquired about my reservations, I clarified that I am smitten by another. Yet, she expressed concern over this complication, asking where the harm lies. I sighed, pondering on this predicament many times before. She admitted her current desire for me, revealing it to be a turn-on. What happens next, though? She wondered. She could potentially change her mind. Suppose she believed I appreciated him more than I appreciated her. How would she feel then? Even worse, what if she spotted someone she felt as strongly about as I feel for you? Wouldn't she think she deserved it since she let me be with you? It would signal the end of our marriage. She didn't seem convinced. That's a lot of speculation, she stated. I know Sophie, and she wouldn't do that. I also understand her, and I'm not completely confident, I responded. Will you think about me before drifting off to sleep? She asked playfully. Most likely, I chuckled. I leaned in for a quick peck on her forehead, but she grabbed my face instead, pressing another of her passionate kisses on my lips. This is to assist you, she explained. It certainly will, I smiled. It will. That Sunday, we all gathered at the pub for a lengthy, alcohol-fueled lunch. The women appeared cheerful. There was no mention of me having an affair with Alex, suggesting the matter had been put to rest permanently. I found myself in the presence of two stunning women, one who was about to join me in bed, the other whose beauty I could only admire from a distance. Upon returning to the house, Sophie and I made our way to our bedroom. Think of me, all by myself with my book. Alex feigned sadness. I want you to devour me, said Sophie as soon as the door was closed. Just a moment then, she said. Don't begin without me. She left the bed, removed the rest of her clothes, and exited the room. I presumed she had gone for a drink or something. Then she returned, accompanied by Alex. To be precise, Alex was as unclothed as Sophie was. Wow, was all I could utter. Alex appeared stunning, more attractive than I had ever imagined. She had flawless, youthful breasts, neither too large nor too small like her sisters, just a touch firmer. Her legs seemed endless. "Didn't I tell you?" Sophie said to her sister. "He thinks you're breathtaking." "Really?" Alex looked apprehensively at me. "Extremely beautiful," I confirmed. Why the deceit? It was evident what my spouse intended. "I know your desires, dear," my spouse declared, and it mirrored scenes in my deepest fantasies. Following this series of events, we found ourselves reclining on the bed, me sandwiched between the two sisters with an arm around each, their heads resting on my shoulders. Sophie drew the duvet over us, and within 10 minutes we dozed off. I awoke before the others. Alex was nestled with her back to me, while Sophie lay half-turned towards me. They were both deep in slumber. I spent a few moments pondering the occurrences. Even then, it was hard to believe. It seemed like a marvelous dream, an insane fantasy. Yet, it had transpired, I kept reminding myself. Only then did doubts emerge. Yes, it had occurred. What next? Would everything transform from here on? Would Sophie continue to cherish me? Would she grow envious? Would it happen again? Alex was almost 2 decades younger than Sophie. Would she suit me as my spouse? I couldn't envision our relationship ever returning to normal after this. Yet there they were, 2 stunning women lying next to me, naked. I adored them both. I desired them both. I wished for this incident to repeat itself. Sweating in my bewilderment, I remained motionless. I dared not awaken them, fearing their only words might be regrets. I didn't want my fantasies disillusioned. In the end, I quietly slipped from the bed, donned my robe, and ventured into the kitchen. I had no specific plan in mind, but something urged me to seek normalcy. I had no intention of allowing Sophie to awaken with thoughts like, "Oh my God, this has all been a dreadful mistake. What have I done?" I most definitely didn't want a discussion that began with, "Darling, we need to talk." I wanted to prevent her from thinking, and the only way I could think of doing that was by introducing a dose of routine life. 30 minutes later, I re-entered the bedroom, carrying a tray laden with meals. The sisters stirred upon the delivery of the tray, sitting promptly. "What's this?" questioned Sophie with a smile. "Dinner," I responded unnecessarily. "I thought you both deserved it." Alex chuckled. "We should maintain our vigor." "Absolutely," concurred Sophie. They regarded me without a trace of guilt or remorse, which allowed me a small hope that things might be improving. We commenced our meal. That night, I retired early. I wished to postpone the discussion with Sophie, knowing it was imminent. I was too perplexed and lacked the stamina. On the following day, work day, she didn't anticipate anything from me when she returned to bed. I feigned sleepiness, so all she did was say, "Good night, darling. Kiss me and roll over." I lay awake for a considerable time, fretting about everything. The ensuing week transpired without incident. Regarding whether Sophie and Alex discussed the recent incident, I couldn't say for sure, but it appeared likely. After all, they usually shared everything, yet avoided the topic when I was present. An apparent mutual understanding seemed to be in place. Alex slept in her own room, while Sophie and I stayed in ours. It felt as though Sophie expected me to initiate a discussion. She didn't give off a vibe of regret. Instead, she seemed more affectionate than ever. She made every effort to express her affection through touching and kissing. It was almost like she was trying to confirm that our relationship remained strong. Alex, too, showed increased affection, initiating physical displays of love, whether in Sophie's presence or not. One Friday evening, we were all lounging in the living room, pondering what to do. "Fancy going out?" I asked Alex, reminded it was Friday. "I'd prefer staying in and drinking with you both," she replied. "If that suits you," replied I. Later, we were comfortably huddled on the couch. "This is the sort of Friday I prefer," whispered Alex, resting her head on my shoulder. "Me too," echoed Sophie with a kiss. "How about you, dear? Do you enjoy having 2 lovely ladies to yourself?" I affirmed. "After what you did for us last weekend," she persisted. "This is it," I pondered. This is the conversation I had been apprehensive about. No blame, no regrets, no change of feelings. Don't look so anxious, Alex interjected. Sophie chuckled and placed her hand on my thigh, giving me another kiss. Don't stiffen up, dear, she smiled. Just unwind and enjoy it, I acquiesced, if you demand it. I adore you, she whispered. Do you love me a bit? I replied. I love you too, I confessed. More than a little. Hold me tight, she requested. I felt Sophie move along the couch to embrace me. I felt her hand running through my hair. Subsequently, we lounged together on the couch in a three-person sprawl. There was an abundance of kissing and hugging. Eventually, someone proposed we tidy up and retire to bed. Wise idea, Sophie looked at me, smiling as she collected her belongings. You need your rest. Without further conversation, we each retired to our respective bedrooms. Sophie and I to our matrimonial bed, Alex to hers. I embraced Sophie under the blanket. Are you all right? I inquired, concern etched on my face. Regarding what transpired this evening, she returned a warm kiss. Quite content, dear. As I told you, I want you to revel in Alex as much as you do with me. Upon waking the next day, I found myself alone in our bed. I pondered over the events of the previous night, wondering if it had been a dream. It seemed like an absurd fantasy. The door opened and Alex entered. Good morning, love, she beamed. Feeling well? She donned a shapeless old t-shirt that ended at her waist, but she still exuded a sensual allure. Where's Sophie? I inquired. Rising from my slumber, she replied, She's taking a shower. Afterward, she mentioned preparing breakfast for us. She perched on the bedside. I've been instructed to keep you engaged until it's ready. I inquisitively asked, Are you planning to serenade me? Laughing, she responded, That wouldn't amuse you, adding, Besides, Sophie was quite specific. Intrigued, I questioned, Oh, really? She indicated my t-shirt as a response. Indeed entertaining, I commented. Despite my desire for her, a faint pang of guilt lingered within me. Are you confident Sophie won't mind about this? Inquired Alex with authority. Attempting to alleviate my concern, she said, Stop fretting and kiss me. I complied, our lips meeting. Do you love me? She inquired, her eyes still closed. You are aware of my feelings, I replied. Are you fond of Soph the same way? I hesitated before responding truthfully. Knowing Alex would relay whatever I said to Sophie, and having always known when I'm lying, even when she wasn't physically present, I confessed, Yes, I love both of you equally. Thank you, she expressed. The sentiment warms my heart deeply. I return your affection with an even greater intensity than words can express. Her gaze was intense, hinting at imminent tears. We shared a lengthy kiss. You're not exactly unattractive yourself, she chuckled. Engrossed in the moment, neither of us noticed when the door creaked open. Enjoying yourselves? Said Sophie, startling me. Absolutely, her sister murmured, seamlessly responding. Sophie didn't miss a beat before closing the distance between us and kissing me. She told me you were quite insistent, I admitted, somewhat sheepishly. Well then, comply as requested, dear, she smiled back at me. Give her your best. Eventually, we indulged in Sophie's breakfast preparation. She beamed, alternating glances between me and Alex. I love you just as deeply, she confirmed. The two most charming individuals on earth. We ventured shopping, handled some laundry, made phone calls, performed our routine weekend activities, and eventually night approached. I sensed an impending event. Hadn't they been giggling and laughing together all day, occasionally pulling me close for affectionate hugs and planting kisses on my lips? By the time we had cleared the dishes into the dishwasher, it seemed that Alex and I, without any spoken words, looked to Sophie for direction. Wasn't she the one who had initiated this intriguing situation we found ourselves in? She nodded affirmatively. That's not fair on you, dear, I protested, but my objection was partly jesting. A small part of me harbored a worry. Perhaps what I had dreaded had begun. Perhaps she thought to pass me on to Alex. Perhaps she no longer wanted me. My heart skipped a beat. I cherished my wife. The thought of her ceasing to love me filled me with dread. She calmed my fear with a long kiss. She reassured me gravely. It's fine, my dear, she explained. I don't wish for Alex to be left out. I want to express gratitude towards both of you. Two captivating women. It's a dream come true for many men. She chuckled. Is that so? She then clarified. That's not the reason behind our actions. I inquired, then why are you doing this? She replied with a tender kiss. Because we adore you. Alex echoed her sentiment, also bestowing a kiss. A few days later, during an intimate moment between Sophie and me, I felt it was suitable to address the unfolding events. I no longer suspected Sophie of losing interest in me or planning to transfer me to Alex while she sought another companion for more thrilling intimacy. Quite the contrary, I had never seen her more content. Alex, too, appeared content with the circumstances. She began spending more time around the house in minimal clothing, causing quite a diversion and amusement for both of us. You were correct. I aimed to make her feel cherished. I smiled subtly. I believe she already knows she's cherished, and before you question me, I added hastily. Now, it's clear you won't mind my saying this. Yes, I love her equally as I love you, and she loves you just as deeply. Before you inquire, let me clarify. I know because she confided in me. Therefore, I stated, pausing as the revelations began to settle, I have two wives, if you will, I thought. Suddenly, as if a light bulb had switched on, I understood the situation. My heart plummeted like a stone. Oh my God, I murmured, barely daring to utter. You must be ill. Incurable, perhaps? She gazed at me for a moment before erupting into laughter. This wasn't the response I had expected. No, dear, she said when she'd regained her composure. I am not preparing to replace you. Thank goodness for that, I replied, feeling relief sweep through my body as swiftly as fear had moments ago. Then why are you bringing Alex and me closer together? She leaned in to kiss me. I've already told you, dear. Now we both love you, and you love us both, so just embrace us and stop fretting. Hence I did. When Alex got pregnant, my joy didn't wane. The implications swiftly became apparent. I had grown accustomed to the idea that Sophie wanted me, but providing her a child seemed different. Having a baby would fundamentally alter everything, I told Sophie. Why do you think so? She questioned. Where will she stay? Was my initial response. And while being a single mother might not be such a big deal these days, it's not exactly simple either. As to where she'll reside, said Sophie, I thought you wouldn't mind if she lived with us. We all care for each other. Why should we part ways? I pondered this for a brief moment. In truth, I had been considering the same idea myself, but believed it was not my decision to make. I have no objections. In fact, I would welcome her living with us. So that's decided, said Sophie, offering me a kiss. Perhaps we should ask her opinion first, I suggested. We had already talked about it. She is overjoyed, of course. It seemed inevitable they would make all the decisions without us. Thus, we found ourselves serving as a live-in aunt and uncle to Alex's newborn child. Initially, we envisioned ourselves more as parents. Given your role, it was fitting. Right, I said hesitantly, acknowledging my new title as a father, something I had long desired. Alex gave birth to her daughter with both Sophie and I present at the delivery, an experience I shall never forget. Being a father brought immense joy. The three of us cherished our little girl, with Sophie caring for her as tenderly as Alex and I did. 18 months later, another miracle. A baby boy arrived for Alex. Our family now felt whole. It was only when Sophie eventually confided in me the true reason behind her unwavering support of Alex and me that my affection for her grew even stronger. She had been living with the knowledge that she could not conceive children, aware of how much I yearned for them. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I asked, moved by her revelation. I was on the verge of doing so, she replied, tears glistening in her eyes. Countless times. Due to my fear of losing you, I hesitated. You wouldn't have been lost, I reassured, holding her close. I yearned for children, but you hold greater value. Now I understand, she admitted. Similarly, I desired children. I was uncertain about the steps to take. So it was Alex's idea initially? She nodded in affirmation. She knew of your longing for children yet couldn't fulfill it herself. Initially, she proposed being a surrogate, but the thought of separating her from her child was unbearable. After days of discussion, we decided the best course was for her to move in with us so we could observe our dynamics. I queried, "Hadn't you felt jealous of her?" "Not at all," she replied. "She is my sister. I cherish her as much as I adore you. I knew she had already grown fond of you as she confided in me. My wish was for you to reciprocate her affections." I returned my kiss. "Indeed, that's accurate." She embraced me firmly. "I am incredibly relieved everything unfolded as planned. Now we are genuinely a family filled with love. The only modification is that our kids have 3 caretakers." After a brief pause, she added, "There's one more thing." "What's that?" "We should consider getting a larger bed.